in the world, PricewaterhouseCoopers, with revenues of over $34 billion a year. He was selected as a future leader and was also a finalist for the British Black Business Awards. Also, he's a CEO of Go Getters, a community of opportunity makers, creating sustainable enterprises to develop Africa. So he's traveled all over the world, and I'm really privileged to introduce him to you. I'm sure you would have a fantastic time. He also has had a first-class degree in business and management as well. So make Aliyu welcome. He's a first-class.
For the introduction, and it's such a pleasure to be here today. I'm truly humbled to be in front of young people today because, like Hattie said, I love speaking to young people. And why? Because young people are the future. Young people are us in the room who we're going to develop the world to be. And it's up to us to be the greatest versions we can be of ourselves to change the world for the better, for the next legacy, and for the next generation of young people after us. So today I'm going to talk about three things. I'm going to tell you three stories. The first story, I'm going to tell you about my motivation and why I do what I do. The second story, I'm going to talk about resilience and a really tough time I went through whilst in university. And the last story, I'm going to talk about the concept of thinking big and thinking that nothing is impossible and everything is within your reach to get it. So I'm going to start with the first story. And this is a story my mum told me. So I remember when I was in secondary school, I was finding it really hard to pass any of my grades. I was pretty much failing most of secondary school, and I failed most of primary school. And my parents would always push me, Ali, you need to work hard, we want you to do well, we want you to go to school. And to be honest, I had friends who, they weren't doing that great, and I wasn't doing that great. So I was in a circle of people who were just doing average. And I was fine with that, I didn't want to push myself anymore. So Mom sat me down one day and told me a story about a young girl. She told me this young girl was born in Sierra Leone, and as she grew up, her older sister took her away to live with her friends. And as she grew up with her friend's older sister basically turned her into the house girl. And this young girl, she grew up every day cooking food for this lady's kids and being the house girl instead of going to school in Brooklyn. So she grew up one day and she was 18 years old and she felt pregnant. She got kicked out of the house and she had to run away back to her parents' house. At that point, she was lost. She had hardly any schooling. And the boyfriend who she had been with had basically just left her. So what happened next? She was lucky to find an amazing man who she managed to become her new boyfriend. But then she was still slaving away in Sierra Leone. Her brother, who was in London, sent money for her to come to the UK. So she left her son and her boyfriend in Sierra Leone. For years, she worked hard to bring her son and her husband to London. After diligently working hard and making things happen, her son grew up. And the son who I'm talking about is me. And when my mum told me what she went through as a child, and what she went through to try to put food on the table for me, and on the day where she got her 2-1 degree, because she went to university before me, I made her a promise to say, Mum, you have made me prouder than what I could have ever thought to myself. Because you came from a place where you found things difficult, where you had all the odds against you. I'm here living and breathing, eating every day, because of all the hard work you and my dad have put in. And because of that, I know I haven't worked hard in the past, but because of that, and because I've seen where you've gone today, I'm going to make sure that I make you proud in return. So I want you all to think, why do you do what you do? And why are you content with where you are today? Where do you want to go in the future? Who are you living for? Who do you want to make proud? Who means the most to you? Because when your parents are pushing and saying you must work hard, you must see the future, you must become the best version of yourself, understand and think to yourself, where are they coming from? What is their story? What hardship have they gone through? Because many of you, your parents would have gone through different things, and you may not be aware because you've never had that conversation. But today, I want you to find out. When you get home, speak to your parents. Ask them what they've been through, and ask them how the world has treated them. And once you find out, then you know why they push you so hard. And you know why you need to achieve the best that you can do. So make it happen. So for this talk, I want you to remember one phrase. Less talk, more action. Right? So I'm going to say less talk. I want everyone to say more action. Less talk,
more action.
Let's get a bit more energy. Less talk,
more action.
Yes, because action is what we need to do. Action is what we need to take. So the next story is around resilience. In second year university, I told everyone that I was going to work for one of the biggest companies in the world. At this time, like I said, my GCSEs, I didn't do that well. My college, I did a bit better. By second year university, I was hitting a first class degree in my first year, so I thought everything was good. Everything was fine. I'd be able to do what I need to do. I started applying for jobs for a placement year, because in my university, you have to take a gap year to work for a company for 1 year. I started applying in September. October came, November came, no interviews. December came, no interviews. By January, I applied for over 35 companies. Then I had my first interview. I remember the letter came through the door, and I called my parents. I said, "Hey guys, let's sit down, let's open this letter up." Everyone's smiling around the table. My mom's got speed dial, all the aunties. "Hey, Ali, you've got a job, oh." I'm there excited. So I open the letter carefully and I take it out, and it was a rejection letter. The pain I felt through my heart, the pain I looked in my parents' eyes to say I didn't get it, it hurt. So I continued to apply, and I tried to get feedback from that company. They wouldn't give me feedback. So then I tried to go down to the company to go to reception and give them the name of the person who interviewed me, and then on that spot they were forced to give me feedback. And then through that, I started to apply for more and more companies. So now February came, March came, I think I had 5 other interviews. They gave me rejection, rejection, rejection. I wasn't getting through. I couldn't understand why, but every time they hit me down, I came back up and I said, why? And the reason why I asked why is because all those rejection letters, they were not points of failure, no. They were points of learning. Because every time you get rejected, it's that question of why that you need to learn from. It's that question of how can I improve for the next time? Because as human beings, we develop, and we develop every day. The moment we stop asking why and how we can learn, that's the moment we stop developing. And that is never a choice for any of you. So again, the story continues. June came, I still didn't have a job. July came, I had a few assessment centers which I got through. By this time, I'd applied for every single top company in the Times 100 list, and I had gone through 30 interviews and 10 assessment centers. It was the 1st of August, and I still remember this day. I had applied for 3 companies who rejected me 6 months ago, and because now after 6 months you can reapply again, I reapplied again. But there was a difference this time. Every time I applied, there was a difference. Why? Because I had learned what I'd done wrong before. So whereas before, in September when I started, it would have taken me maybe a few days, or maybe nearly a week to apply for one company, because I have to do all the research. By the time we got to August, I could apply for 3 companies within that one day, because I knew everything they were asking for. Ask me a question and I've got an answer. So through that cycle of learning, improving, I got through to one interview. Then I got through to the assessment center. And then on the 1st of August, I got a phone call as I was down my way down to London. I packed all my bags from PwC, the largest firm in the world, to say I got my job. Now, Lord knows that at the beginning of that year, I had said I'm going to work for one of the biggest companies in the world. But Lord knows that I had no truth to say that. But I thought if I state it, if I say out loud what I want and I tell everyone, it will happen. And although I failed many times along the way, I never gave up. So say what you want. Say it loud and say it proud. You may not even believe it's going to happen, but say it anyway. And although the road will be hard, although there may be times where you think you cannot get there, keep on pushing. Never stop. Go through that door and just make it happen. And what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to learn from it. Less talk,
more action.
Less talk,
More action.
And that's the phrase I want you to remember. Never give up. Always take actionable steps to acquiring your goals. So the last story I want to tell you is one about opening your mind and seeing what's possible in the world. 2.5 years into working for PwC, I qualified as a chartered accountant. The world was good, I got a huge pay rise. And I thought to myself, what next? I can climb through the ranks of PwC for the next 15, 10, 20 years and try to maybe become a partner. That's a steady career path, that's where I could be. But is that where I wanted to be? And is that where my mind saw the limits of the possibilities? We live in a big world. Why am I limited to only working for this one company? Why couldn't I just see bigger things? Is it because of the biggest? Could I become big something myself? I don't know. So I went to one of the partners and I said, right now the world is changing. I see technology, I see Africa, and I see entrepreneurship. It's one of the pinnacles of where the world is going right now. People need to take action to take the world into a new direction. And I said I wanted to take 15 months of work, unpaid. All I want is that a guaranteed job when I came back. The first partner rejected me. The second partner said yes, and he gave me that time off. Now, the reason why I'm saying to think big is because, just because where you are today seems comfortable, all of us have a burning desire in our heart to make something big out of ourselves. And sometimes we need to give ourselves the space to look into the different possibilities that the world has in order. The space to find out who you truly are. The space to just venture out and take a risk on something, on yourself. And that's what I did for 15 months. And throughout that time, I traveled across 6 African countries. I went to South Africa, Kenya, Rwanda, Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone. In 10 days of having an idea to do this trip, I put together a team of 10 people, and I called us go-getters. And I said what we wanted to do was to venture out into Africa and really find out and discover what the possibilities are on this continent. I'm from Sierra Leone, that's where I was born. But that didn't mean that I didn't want to see elsewhere in Africa. And within that time, we just didn't visit. We executed 3 workshops. We done 3 documentaries. We saw the likes of Richard Branson. We saw the likes of Kofi Annan. We saw 7 African presidents whilst we were there. And the only reason that happened is because I opened up my mind to say, what could the possibilities be if I venture out into somewhere? What could the possibilities be if I took a step for myself and my team to create something which is bigger than ourselves? And what could the possibilities be if we just take that step forward and take another step forward? So I want you all to realize that anything you want to achieve, you can do it. You can do it. But you need to believe in yourself.
Amen.
Believe in your belief. For me, just to even ask for 15 months, it was hard for me. Because that was me saying, I can do this. For me to convince people to come and join this team, it was hard. Because that's me telling them, we're going to do this. And sometimes I have to think to myself, who am I to tell you we're going to do this? But believe in yourself. That's what I had to do. I just had to believe in myself to say, we can do this. And if we don't, what's going to happen? We'll learn from it. So remember that. Whatever steps you take, if it doesn't work out, you shall learn from it. So when I say less talk, more action. Let's make it happen and believe in yourself and let's push forward together. Thank you very much.